Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. It's going to be absolutely powerful. You know why? Because we are talking about you. Have you ever just felt like you were all over the place? You felt like um, you just didn't know which direction to go in. You felt like you were being influenced by people versus influenced by yourself. Well, today we're going to talk about the power in leading yourself. I am actually dialoguing with one of my great friends, Malinda T. White, and I want you to listen in to that powerful dialogue. My name is Yakinea Marie of She CEO Global and She CEO Network. We support women of faith in building themselves and building their visions and their businesses. I invite you to connect to our free coaching, mentoring, and networking community at SheCEONetwork.com. That's SheCEONetwork.com. Click the link in the description below. Oh, by the way, if you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share. Now we're about to get ready right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to She CEO Inspires. Here with your girl, Yakinea Marie. Welcome to another episode of our podcast that happens every Thursday. Make sure that you stay tuned. I have the distinct honor and privilege of dialoguing with one of my great friends on today on the power of leadership. And we're not just focused on leading other people. The whole topic is about you leading yourself. And she's a specialist in this. I'm talking about gifted and anointed and appointed to teach on leadership. She's a leadership development coach, a faith influencer, and a professional speaker. So let me greet my friend by saying, great evening, Malinda T. White. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, and thank you for putting the emphasis on the T. That's very important. I'm doing really well, and I count it a privilege and an honor to share this space with you. I love what you're doing, how you're impacting the lives of women. So again, it's a privilege and an honor to be here with you today and to talk about a subject that I'm so extremely passionate about. So I'm ready when you are.
Well, I know you're passionate about it because not only do you have mastered leading yourself and leading others, but you train leaders how to lead as well. So it's powerful. So I'm excited about it. And thank you for saying yes to my invitation. But I want to dive right in. And the first question I want to ask you is this. What is leadership? I know we kind of put our own definition to it, but your professional opinion, what is leadership?
I honestly, in my professional opinion, believe that leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what John Maxwell says. And I believe that with my whole heart. Because anytime that you are influencing and impacting a person's beliefs, their thoughts, their character, you're engaging in leadership. So it's influence. And all of us at some point in our lives are influencing other people, whether it's in our home, our children, our parents, our spouses, our friends. We all engage in leadership. That's why I truly believe that leaders are born and then they're made, then they're developed. I believe that every person on the planet is a leader because leadership is influence. It's just about impacting the lives of other people, their thoughts, their beliefs. So that's what leadership is.
Now, leadership is influence. Leadership is the ability to impact other individuals. But let's turn this inward. Okay, let's turn this inward. Let's talk about the power of one impacting themselves, the power of them influencing oneself. What does that look like when someone has the ability to influence themselves or lead themselves?
Yeah. Well, I think that great leadership starts with leading yourself. I don't think that we'll ever be successful as a leader. And when I say leader, having other people to follow us, if we're not really leading ourselves. So I'll talk first about what does that look like? What does leading yourself look like? Because again, to the degree that you lead yourself, that's going to impact how you lead other people. And so, what does leading yourself look like? Number one, I think personally that your leadership has to be anchored in something. You've got to understand your identity, who you are. Because if we don't understand our identity, if we don't know who we are, we're going to, first of all, allow other people to define who we are. And what we think about ourselves influences us in a negative way or in a positive way. What do I mean by that? If we have a poor self-image, if we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't believe in our own strengths, if we don't believe in our power, if we don't believe in our own voice, then we're not going to be consistent. We're not going to be bold. We're not going to be courageous. We're going to quit when we get to a hard place, because part of leadership is being able to handle negative situations and being able to solve problems. If we're not anchored, if we don't know who we are, if we don't believe in the power of our own voice and the gifts, the skills, and the talents that God has given us, if we don't believe in that, then the influence that we're going to have on ourselves is negative. And guess what? That energy is contagious. When you have a negative self-image, that is what you're going to portray on other people. Because if there's someone smarter than you, if there's someone more gifted and talented than you, then you're going to shrink back. And you know what? People don't respect that, Yakinea. They're looking for a person that they can follow. So leading yourself, I believe, number one, starts with anchoring your identity. And for Christians, for me, is anchoring your identity in Christ. It is being fully persuaded that you are equipped to be, number one, the master of your destiny, the CEO of your own life.
Yes.
And then having an impact on other people. So I think that's what leadership looks like. I also think that, you have to have a set of core values. That's so extremely important. We have to know what we stand for. Again, going back to how we influence ourselves. See, if we don't have a set of core values, if we don't have beliefs that we're really rooted in, we'll say yes to things that we need to say no to. We'll say no to things that we need to say yes to. When I found out what my core values were, and I really, really began to embrace those, it changed the impact on my life and the impact on others' life. It changed the impact of my leadership. See, one of my core values is growth. I believe in lifelong learning.
Yes.
I don't think any great leader ever stops growing.
Yes.
And so life learning is a core value of mine. And so I'm always going to be trying to develop myself in areas that I know I need developing in. And last, another thing that I think is so important, what leading yourself looks like, the power of really understanding that you need a mentor and coach. You need someone to walk alongside you, someone that has been where you are going, to help develop you, to teach you, to guide you. See, when you have someone that you are accountable to, when you have someone that can speak into your lives, then it impacts you and influences you in such a positive way that you also want to impact and influence others. And so everything that you're learning, you're making sure that you're pouring it out into the lives of others. So again, great leadership starts with leading yourself, and to the ability that you have to lead yourself is how you're going to lead others. So you need to know who you are. You need to be self-aware. You need a set of core values that guide your beliefs, and you need coaches and mentors to help you get to where you need to be.
You said a mouthful, and it's so powerful, because I was just thinking about when I was younger, and because of some of the childhood trauma that I experienced, I didn't at that time, I didn't understand the power of leading myself. I didn't understand the power of doing that. So although I was a leader, I was a follower because of peer pressure, because of people pleasing, due to low self-esteem, insecurities, rejection, and that's why I got in trouble, and making poor decisions, because I was allowing myself to be influenced or led by someone else whose core values did not align with my core values. And at that time, I never even heard of core values. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I didn't have a set of core values like, okay, my core value is prayer. My core value is honesty. My core value is, you understand, I was
Yeah.
allowing other people to define what my core values were, even if they were negative,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
And so I learned, and it took years. It took years for me to come to a place of ownership, of owning my voice, taking, embracing the fact, because I remember years ago, Malinda, when individuals, so I would have somebody to tell me how powerful my voice was, right? But yet I felt like I would tell myself if I was at an event and I had to public speak or anything like that, I would tell myself, well, don't be out up there talking all loud and strong because people may think people may think you're trying to overpower them. But that was a false narrative in my own head, right? And so I wasn't self-aware of where I was. And when
Yeah.
you can talk, you can speak on self-awareness even more. I wasn't self-aware, thus I didn't even try to work on the areas that I was weak, that I was depleted, that I was broken until years later. Can we
Yeah.
talk about self-awareness?
Yeah, I think self-awareness is so important. I didn't know you talking about uh identity and self-awareness. I wasn't even aware that I had a low self-esteem too.
Mm,
I had some trauma. And it's so funny that when you're not aware, but other people are aware. Other people can see things in us that we don't see in ourselves sometimes. We have blind spots. And so I remember one of my friends who was a lot younger than me, she said to me, you devalue yourself. You don't really know who you are. You don't know your strengths. You don't know your gifts and your skills. You don't really know how powerful you are.
mm,
And
yeah,
you capitalize on your weaknesses.
mm,
And really, it's important to know. So you talked about self-awareness. It is important to know our strengths,
mm,
because what we want to do as leaders is double down on our strengths.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's important to know our weaknesses, but hear what I'm saying. It's not very important to try to level up on your weaknesses. You delegate to your weaknesses.
yeah, yeah,
So as a leader, you need to know self-awareness is, who am I?
yes,
What,
yes,
how did God create me?
yes,
What are my strengths? God, and how do you find that out? You go to God, you pray. What are my strengths?
mhm,
What are the things that I'm very good at?
mhm,
Help me to know what those things are so that I can develop them and
yes,
get better.
yes,
And you talk about voice. I have a powerful and authoritative voice.
yes, you
And
do.
so
That's
some
what attracted me to you, by the way. Because
okay.
you was my teacher. Remember, I told you was my teacher. This is before we
Yeah.
were friends, and I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that girl right there, strong. Because I'm attracted to strong people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nothing against passive people. I'm just
Sure,
attracted
sure,
to
sure.
people who command the room. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So yeah, so I would get up and try to, be somebody who I wasn't when I was speaking in front of people. And I remember I had a mentor. Boy, she was powerful. And
Mm,
she could get up there and she would do all these hand gestures and stuff. And so I'm like, oh, when I get a chance to speak, I'm gonna get up there and do all that. And I tripped. And I laughed and the audience laughed, but it was because I really didn't know who I was. And so when you're not self-aware, and so this is how God made me. He made my voice this way.
mm,
And so you have to, self-awareness is knowing your strengths but then accepting them.
mm, mm,
So it's knowing your strengths, it's knowing your gifts, it's knowing your talents, and then it's accepting them, accepting yourself the way you are, not trying to dumb down, not trying to compare yourself with other people, because when you compare, you despair.
mm.
And I'm telling you, you
Out.
never become who God wants you to become.
Mm,
So self-awareness is really understanding who you are and how Christ made you. And let me tell you, it's the epicenter of leadership.
mm,
It's the epicenter of
love it.
self-leadership.
Mm,
It starts with that. It starts with knowing who you are. So self-awareness is really just understanding who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and not allowing other people to define who you are. Because see, people will tell you who you are. And if you're not strong, if you don't know who you are, you begin to believe that. And as a leader, people don't respect that. People know when they can run over you. And I'll say this last thing why it's so important to be self-aware. It's so important because it's so very important because when people are following you, you want them to follow you because they respect you. You don't want them to follow you because they're getting a paycheck. You know, it's so important because as an entrepreneur, if you don't know your gifts, so Marie, or Yakinea, I'm sorry. So Yakinea, why would I go sing in the choir when I know that I'm not gifted for that? But no. That's
I mean that makes sense though. I'm just saying, yeah. I'm just like that's what I look like.
Try to get a medical degree when I know I hate biology, I hate science, I hate math.
Yeah.
So part of becoming self-aware is again knowing what you're good at and then capitalizing on that. So it's so important to become self-aware. And again, that comes through prayer, that comes through asking your closest friend, what do you see are my strengths? What do you see are my weaknesses? So you can make sure that you're not trying to level up on a weakness when you don't need to.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to say this when you said friends, when the first thought I thought of when you said friends is make sure that this friend is a safe place.
Yeah.
Because some friends are silent competitors or silent secret agents, I'll say. A demonic setup. They smile and they like, yeah, girl. And all along, they really don't want you to succeed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so in that, just make sure you feel like they're a safe space and your business won't be everywhere. That's just a side note.
I do think that is so extremely important, who you ask. I think that's so extremely important. But here's what I've learned and here's what I found out. I am fully persuaded that what God has for me,
yes,
no devil in hell can stop it.
You better.
And so as a leader,
language now.
So as a lead, no, but I'm saying I had to get to that point. So as a leader, you even I do think it's important who you talk to. I think it's very important. You made a great point, especially if you're not there yet.
Yeah, I'm speaking to those who are not there yet.
Because see, you'll let them define who you are. You know, I was sharing something with somebody the other day, and I was telling Eric, I was like, when they started talking that stuff, it was like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. I don't hear you. I do not hear you. Because what you're not going to do is tell me who I am. What you're not going to do, and that's so important as a leader. It's so important as a leader because see, you've got to make tough decisions a lot of times. You got to learn how to navigate through challenges. So you've got to learn how to problem solve. All of that's a part of leadership. So being self-aware.
Yeah, that's good. I like how the testimony you just shared about, because the first word I thought of, Malinda, she's self-aware. And because you're self-aware of who you are, if they said something that did not bear witness with your spirit, they said something that did not align with the truth of who you have come to an agreement of who you are, you just like, it's like you dismissed it as soon as they were speaking it. It was like bouncing off of you. And that's powerful because how many people, their lives have been detoured for no other reason than somebody spoke death because the person's heart was wrong, motive was wrong, or maybe their motive wasn't wrong, but they never took a risk before. So they're playing it safe and they want you to play it safe.
Yes.
Right? So they don't mean you any harm, but they're giving you advice out of the lens of their own experience or inexperience.
Right. That's correct.
This is why it's so important to get to that place of self-awareness, get to that place of your identity being anchored. I really, really, really love that. So Malinda, would you say that when an individual masters their destiny, when they are the CEO of their own life, right? God being the ultimate CEO, but you know,
Sure,
you
sure.
understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This individual now has the ability to effectively lead others, because we have a lot of leaders that's leading and they're not effective
Um, I would say that that's a start. You know, it's multifaceted.
at it. Okay.
There are a lot of things that you have to. I think that that's self-awareness is a start. Okay. Um, I think that leaders are always lifelong learners. So you never arrive. You're always growing and you're always developing. So it's so important that as a leader, you know, you're expanding by, you know, taking courses. You're expanding by pouring into other people. You're expanding and you're growing because you are, you know, you're living out your core values. I think that it's multifaceted. It's not just one thing, but I think the start though, to be effective, I think the start is you start with your identity. I think a start is you know who your core values are. You know what your core values are. I mean, you embrace them. You just don't have them up on a vision board.
Yes.
They become who you are.
Yes.
You live those things out. I think accountability will help you to always master your life. So all of those things are very important. But if there is one thing, I think your anchor, and I think your anchor has to be in something greater than you. It has to be.
Yes.
And I just want to encourage everybody that you are a leader, because leadership is who we are. Again, it's not a title, it's not a position, it's just who we are. We're leading somebody. You know, we're leading ourselves and we're leading other people. And so if you never become a CEO, if you never ever become a leader on your job, which you should, but if you never do, you're the leader of your life.
Yes. Yes.
And to lead your life successfully, you've got to know who you are. To lead your life successfully, you've got to invest in your development. That's one of the things I like about you. You're always investing in your development. And see, we get stronger as we do. We get stronger as we go. And so when we empower ourselves with knowledge, when we empower ourselves understanding who we are, then we can be successful in effectively leading other people.
Yes, that's good. Well, I do believe, I know you've heard this saying before, that leaders are readers, but
Yes.
I just agree. It's like whether you graduated college or not, you have the ability to feed your mind. Okay. There's
Yes.
many resources out here that's available to you. Even those who said, I can't afford it. There's a million different resources out here for free for you to have access to. But I still believe in investing in yourself. I don't care if it's $10. I just believe that we are our greatest asset. People are our greatest asset over money and over all fame and all this other stuff. But we have to work on ourselves, because when we do it, it shifts our mindset. It'll shift, and our bodies move based on how we think. You know, the body goes in the direction that our mind takes it.
Yes.
So either we're going forward or we're going back.
And our actions.
Yeah. Well, our mind is, you know, it's
our you said our body, but our actions go in the way our mind. Yes.
Basically,
Yes.
yeah. So
yes.
it's like, if our mind said, eat this donut, we're gonna go and eat this donut. If our mind said, no, get that apple, then we're gonna go and get the apple. Right? If our mind said, pick up a book, we're going to pick up a book. Well, if our mind said, watch 4 hours of television, our action is, let me get this remote. So at the end of the day, this is why we need to work on this right here. Right? Because it will control this body, aka our actions. Okay. So I want to close out with this question right here. Speak on consequences and benefits. Because there's consequences, like I teach my granddaughter, there are consequences, good and bad.
Yeah.
to everything that we do. So
Okay.
we'll say the consequence we'll define it as bad, and we'll say the benefits we will define it as
Yeah.
the good.
Okay.
So what are the consequences and the benefits to in regards to a person who is effectively leading themselves versus the person who is not?
Okay. I want to piggyback on something you said before I answer that question. When we talked about growth, I wanted to make sure that people understand that a leader, yes, courses are very good,
Mm,
um, but growing is multifaceted, and there are a lot of ways to grow.
mhm.
And here's one of the things that I think that we have to do as leaders to be successful. We have to take time to self-reflect,
Yes,
because
yes,
part of growth is learning from your
that's
mistakes.
good.
And see, that's not a bad thing.
Oh, that's
That's a
good.
good thing,
Yes.
because growth is not linear. It's not linear. We're going to make mistakes along the way. And so part of growth is taking the time to journal,
Mhm.
taking the time to self reflect, taking the time to ask yourself, what am I doing better last year than I did this year? What am I doing better this month than I did last month?
Mhm.
What mistakes have I made that I can learn from? How can I pivot? How can I course correct?
Mhm.
So understanding that it's not all about taking a course,
Oh,
because we can take all kinds of course, but it's acting on the knowledge, it's
yes,
acting on the knowledge,
yes.
it's acting on it. And I can't say that enough. So I wanted to make sure that I just expound on what you were saying about investing in yourself,
Yes.
and that leaders are readers, and and we all have the potential to expand our mind, whether you go to school or not. But
Mhm.
just understanding too that self-reflection is a part of growth.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
uh, 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 um, Evaluating
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
a part of growth.
Mhm.
Looking back at the end of the month, did I meet the goals
Mhm.
that I set for
Mhm.
myself?
Mhm.
If I didn't, what can I learn from it?
Mhm.
Did I expect too much? Was this realistic? So all
Mhm.
of that is part of growth. Now,
Before you answer that question, I thought of something as you were speaking. Humility. When you miss it with someone else, the ability to humble yourself and say, "I'm sorry." The ability to say, "You know what, I missed it there," versus saying, "Well, I mean, whatever, just get over it." I feel like
yes,
that's a part of leading yourself. Um,
absolutely.
I've learned that, listen, I just don't want to hold anything on me. I'm quick to apologize when the Holy Spirit corrects me, like, okay, the way you talk to, I've had to apologize to my granddaughter. Sometimes I talk strong to her, and then I have to go back and say, grandmother apologizes for raising her voice at you, or whatever the case may be, whether it's a child or whether it's an adult. Just that desire to stay in that place of humility, because I used to walk in pride. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? And the
yeah,
Lord had to deal with me on that. And so that's why I'm really quick. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna always get it right, because
sure,
my
sure.
reaction may be, you may say something, I may come back at you, right? Then the Holy Spirit said, the way you said that was out of order. Then I go back, and sometimes, most of the times, all of the times, it don't feel good. But I still apologize, because I never want to block my blessing and block, you know, what God has for me because of pride. Because pride will shut you all the way down, you know.
Yes, pride will shut us down. And I'm so glad you said that, because again, Yakinea, humility begins with ourselves.
That's good. Mm-hmm.
We have to be humble enough to say, I made a mistake, even in our own assessment of things. Because, see, again, to the degree that we are walking humility, is we're going to give it. To the degree that we walk in courage, then we allow other people to walk in courage. But you're so spot on when you talk about humility, because that's the mark of a great leader. Admitting mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
not trying to cover them up. And what that breeds trust. You begin to trust yourself, and then others can trust you too. uh, Benefits
Yeah.
of leading yourself, I believe number one is growth,
Mm-hmm.
courage to take risk,
Love it.
courage to go for it,
Mhm.
You know, I've done the work.
Mhm.
So I'm going to apply for this position.
Yeah.
I believe in my strengths. I
Mhm.
believe in my abilities.
Yeah.
I have a set of standards that I live by. You
Mhm.
know, I have a mentoring coach. I've put in the work. And so because I put in the work, I can boldly and courageously say that I am ready to lead others. So I can apply for the leadership position. Another benefit is I can start my business.
Mhm.
I can write my book.
That's right.
I have the experience. You're bold. You
Yeah.
can stand tall,
Yeah.
not stand tall in a prideful way, but
Yeah.
stand tall in who
Yes.
you are.
Yes.
Confidence,
Mhm.
yes. So that's a benefit.
Yeah.
But I think the number one benefit, in
Mhm.
all honesty, I think the number one benefit of it really investing in yourself and leading your life is that you allow people to permission to lead theirs. When
That's
people
good right there.
people see that
That's
you're
good.
modeling character,
Mhm.
that you're modeling integrity, that you are confident, that you are bold, then that's contagious. Then they know, okay, if she did it, I can do it.
Yeah.
See, part of developing yourself is developing other people. When
Right.
when you are empowered, you
Mhm.
empower other people.
Right.
When you are strong, when you are bold, when you're confident, then you help to other people to embrace their identity.
Yeah.
You help other people to hone in on their strengths, to identify their strengths.
Yeah.
You help other people to get to where you are. That's all a benefit.
Yeah.
See, everything is not for us.
Yeah.
It's for other people.
That's
And
right.
we just benefited. We reap the
Mhm.
benefits. So you give other people the permission. If Yakinea can start She CEO, then I can.
Mhm.
If if Malinda
Mhm.
can develop other people, then I can.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit,
That is.
and that's powerful because that's what we're called to do.
Yeah.
You know, we're called to raise people up. Jesus said, "Go out into all the world."
The girl. Yes.
So we're called to raise people up.
Mhm.
We're just one person. But
Mhm.
as we invest in ourselves, as we develop ourselves, as we get the coaching we need, as all of that, then we are empowered to develop other people. And
Yeah.
there is no that's what Jesus did.
Yes.
He took those 12 disciples, he mentored those 12 disciples, and look at the benefits. Yakinea,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
look at
Okay.
the benefits. He
Yes.
spent time with them. So that's
Mhm.
a benefit. I think a consequence, a
Right.
negative, is that first of all, we're unfulfilled.
Mm.
It's a waste of gifts and talents that God has given us. We live in a state of mediocrity. I
Oh.
didn't say I said a state of mediocrity. When we're not investing in ourselves, when we're not leading in ourselves, when we're not anchoring our identity in Christ, when we don't have a set of standards to live by, we fall for anything.
Yeah. That's right.
And I've not had standards and I've
Mm.
fallen for anything. I've let people talk me into things and I'm like, why did I do that?
Mm.
Why did I do that? Because I didn't have a set of standards to live by.
Yeah.
I didn't have a set of standards to guide me.
Mhm.
And so I think that we live unfulfilled lives. I think that we live unproductive lives. I think that we live fruitless lives. And
Mhm.
that's not what God's intention is
That's
for
right.
us.
That's
So as leaders, it is so important because leadership is influence. I'll
right.
say this lastly. Leadership is
Mhm.
influence. We can influence people negatively or positively. And when we don't develop, we influence people in a negative way. People are watching us.
Mm.
Okay. When our actions and our words don't align,
Mm.
when we lack the courage to do things,
Yes.
that all has a negative impact on other people
Mm.
because people are watching all the time. You know, I hate it when people say I'm not a role model. You are.
Yes, you are. Yes,
You are, and
you
people are
are.
watching your lives
Mhm.
and they're learning from you.
Yeah.
They're either learning what to do or what not to do.
Mhm.
So I think that those are all consequences of not leading yourself.
Good. Woo, this has been a powerful, powerful, powerful session on today. I thank you so very much, sis. If you want to well, first of all, the whole broadcast was powerful. But if you have one just thing you want to leave the people with that are watching this podcast today, and then tell them how can they connect with you. Anything you want to share there, you can as well.
There are a lot of things that I know this is going to sound corny, but it is just the absolute truth.
Mhm.
Go for it.
Mm, yeah, that don't
Lead
sound
your
corny.
life with authenticity.
That's good.
Lead your life with courage.
Mm,
Anchor your value in God
mm,
and just go for it. You don't have to get it all right. You really don't.
mhm,
And Yakinea can attest to this. I've been a person that just has felt like I've got to get it all right.
mm,
We learn from mistakes,
mhm,
but I want to tell you that you have everything you need to lead your life. You have everything you need to be successful. Just go for it. If you need someone to talk to, if you need encouragement, you have Yakinea Marie. You can always reach out to me. Um, I am on social media. I'm on every platform. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook. And I have a personal email. You can always reach out to me there at mrtwhite@att.net. But I believe in you. I know that you're called for greatness. It sounds like a cliche, but
mm.
it is what it is.
That's
You just called it greatness.
good.
There's no comma behind it. You're called to greatness,
Yes.
period. So go for it.
I love it. First of all, that does not sound taboo or, you know what I'm saying? It's just, like you said, it is what it is. It's a powerful statement and it is true. You understand? So I really appreciate you so very much, sis. I thank you for your time today. And for everyone that's watching, if you are a female, what we do here at CCO Network, we support women of faith in building themselves and building their businesses and their visions. We have a free mentoring and networking community that we have created to support you, to answer your questions, to guide you, to coach you, to strategically help you. And you can learn more by clicking the link in the description or going to sheceonetwork.com. That's sheceonetwork.com. You can also, as my friend just said, you can go to Malinda T. White and you can connect with her as well. So with that, thank you so very much, Seth.